Even though Belichick has won 5 rings with Tom, Max, do you think he'd rather have Rodgers?
Of course. They would have such absurd, stupid success together because I think Rodgers is better than Brady. So whatever success he's had with Brady, he had to have more with Rodgers.
Bonham Sports.
Okay, I hear this one a lot. Now, keep in mind, when you say that Aaron Rodgers would win more than Tom Brady, you're literally saying that you think Aaron Rodgers is going to win more than 5 Super Bowls. I don't think you understand how ridiculous that sounds. Well, first, let's start with Belichick's record with good quarterbacks, and then see if he can do with any quarterback and not need Brady. Belichick had Bernie Kosar in Cleveland. In 1991, Kosar was a top 5 quarterback that year. Result? Losing. His later years in Cleveland, he had the once first overall pick, Vinny Testaverde, who we all know was a very capable quarterback himself. What happened? More losing. All but 1 season. Belichick's first year in New England, he had another former first overall pick and a massive yards machine, Drew Bledsoe. Result? Another losing season. It's not as if we only have a small sample size of this. We have 2 different teams in 2 different decades with 3 good quarterbacks, and it made no difference. Why? Well, what could this mean? It means this. It means that the NFL isn't plug and play. This isn't Madden, where, let's say, Rodgers has a 97 rating and Brady has a 94 rating. And if you switch them, everything on both teams stays consistently the same except for the new quarterback being the difference maker. Now in Madden, since Rodgers has a 97 rating and is a computer simulation, the Patriots might win a few more games. But this is the real world.
This is the really real world.
And in the real world, these players' stats and flashiness mean nothing if they don't have the other human elements needed. And what are those other elements? It begins with how the quarterback is willing to work with the head coach.
Aaron, I remember being in meetings, and it would just be so random, and Aaron will take a shot at Mike.
Tom Brady came along, and then Bill wins the Super Bowl. Why? It wasn't because Bill was a crappy coach before Brady. It's just because those other 3 good quarterbacks that Belichick had, they would not or could not buy into his system. So there was always a disconnect there that put the team at a disadvantage. But Brady, he bought in. He took his ego out of it. He was willing to do what he was told. He was willing to put the extra work in. When this happens, you win, and you win a lot. Brady was the difference maker. Now, this is not to say that Rodgers wouldn't have success, perhaps, in New England. He would certainly not have 8 Super Bowl appearances and 5 rings, and neither he or Bill would no longer be in New England at all. Rodgers could not handle Belichick's coaching first and foremost, okay? Most players can't. We hear all the reports of former Belichick players talking about how difficult he is and how hard it is. It's hard for even the most coachable quarterbacks. But we're talking about Aaron Rodgers here. Not only is he hard to coach, he's considered one of the most stubborn of the great quarterbacks in history. How do you think that will go down with Bill Belichick? The moment Aaron starts ad-libbing and it all goes wrong, Belichick would destroy him.
That type of showing of the head coach takes a mental toughness that is rare. To play under Bill Belichick for 18 years has got to be a grind. That's what I'm saying. Do I think Aaron Rodgers could even survive that? I don't know. I don't know if there's many football players, even quarterbacks, those mentalities, to deal with Bill Belichick and the constant pressure that he puts on you for 18 years. That's the difference right there.
What does Rodgers do when Mike McCarthy goes after him? He starts talking junk in a press conference or to his friends. If Rodgers can't even get on the same page as Mike McCarthy, who is an offense-minded coach, Belichick would be the death of Rodgers' ego and confidence. Belichick consistently chastises Brady in the team meetings and in the film room and in front of everybody. And what is Brady doing? How does he react to this? He's taking notes. Brady is literally taking notes. This guy who has won 5 Super Bowls is getting completely destroyed in front of his teammates, and he's taking notes.
And he puts on the film, and the whole team is in there, and he goes at Brady's head. As a coach, you never chastise your quarterback in front of the team. All that is always done behind closed doors. And he's just ripping Tom in front of the whole team. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And that really set the tone for me and everyone else about how that organization is run.
How did Tom Brady take it?
He didn't say anything. He was taking notes.
Keep in mind also, Rodgers runs a West Coast offense, and this was ran by Montana and Young.
Simplified everything for the quarterback. They gave the quarterback options. He knows where his primary, his secondary, his third receiver. So it was very, very simple for the quarterback.
And he said, look, if you'll just follow the directions and the footwork that goes with each pass pattern, I can tell you the timing for when to deliver the football and to who on your feet. I'm like, what? And he's like, just follow the directions and you can play quarterback.
All this is all timed so that things can open up for you at a certain time.
I can script the whole game if I could get players that would do what I told them to do.
It's tailor-made for Rodgers, and he still can't get back to a Super Bowl. Brady runs a modified Erhardt-Parkins offense, strictly favored by Belichick, as it was for Bill Parcells. We have no idea how Rodgers would do in the Erhardt-Parkins offense, as opposed to the West Coast. And this is not to say he couldn't run the offense, but Rodgers is a very good quarterback and smart, so it's possible. I'm only saying it's not a given that he would seamlessly be able to run it as efficiently as other quarterbacks who are better fit to run it. So overall, you cannot plug and play these quarterbacks. They are human, and they have human personalities, egos, likes, and dislikes. And what happens when Rodgers wants the huge paychecks he's been getting? Well, Brady has never had a max dollars contract in his entire career, and he was never paid up to his value. He did this long before he ever met his rich wife, by the way. You know how you hear people say that if LeBron James was paid his value to whatever team he's on, you'd have to pay him like $60 million or something like that? And same for Michael Jordan. It'd be some kind of ridiculous number, right? It's exactly the case with Tom Brady. After he won his third Super Bowl, so by 2005, this guy's value to the team was so astronomically high. Just absurd. But yet there were mediocre and journeyman quarterbacks making more than he was. And again, I repeat, don't use the stupid Gisele Bündchen argument, okay? He did not meet Gisele for a very long time. And besides, all these quarterbacks are rich, and on their second and third contracts, when they're already worth over $100 million, they still take all of the money, okay? How many times did Peyton take a max contract? How many times did Eli or any of the rest? How many times? They're already rich, but they wouldn't take a team discount. So see, being rich doesn't mean anything. Not only would Rodgers and Belichick together not be as successful, it would be a disaster after only the first few seasons. So this argument that you can take Aaron and move him to New England is absolutely idiotic. Another problem for Aaron versus Brady is that Aaron is not a very good teammate.
I didn't want to leave, but our first game of the season, we're playing San Francisco, the 49ers, in Lambeau. And it's a timeout. Carlos Rogers, corner, comes up to me. He's playing with the 49ers. He's like, man, what's going on, man? Why aren't they getting you the ball? Why they got you running these little simple routes? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You know how I go. When you contract year, you don't know what's going on. Aaron is right here. He's kind of listening to the conversation. He says, you guys should get him after this year. You guys should try to get him. I look like, what? Like, this is the first game of the season, and my guy is already pretty much passed me along. And you want to know why I said what I said? And you want to know why? And everyone wants to be like, Greg, he was bitter. He was done with me. Wait a minute. We should keep me. Like, what? Like, he didn't just say it to me in the privacy of our locker room or some. He said it to me, to another guy on another roster, for basically saying, here, you can have him.
In this category, Brady thrives. There has never been a player to ever come out and say a negative thing about Tom as a teammate. Even his enemies at the time, like James Harrison, ended up having to tell the truth that Brady is an awesome teammate.
The whole time I'm playing in Pittsburgh, I'm like, I hate Brady. I got it. Everyone's like, oh, he's such a great guy. He's such a nice guy, you know. We got Garrett. He came over. I'm like, man, what's up with Tom Brady? He's like, oh man, he's a great guy. I'm like, stop lying to me. No, it's not. So as soon as I get there, who's the first person I see? Smiling, happy face. I'm like, yeah, he's just doing this because he got to do it, right?
Sure.
Yeah, he's just faking.
Yep.
So, you watch how he move in the locker room, how he communicates with guys, different guys, guys that been there forever, guys that's just getting there. And dude, he's a great guy.
He's one of the guys, right?
Yes, he is an ultimate teammate, person. I can't, there's nothing I can knock.
The control that Bill Belichick has over everyone is from winning, something that Brady was a part of and helped build. So you can't even say that. That wouldn't even work. Of course, Rodgers could go in and start playing well for a good organization, a winning organization. Still doesn't matter. We're talking about if Rodgers was drafted to the Patriots and Tom Brady never existed, this would be a disaster. Remember, if Tom Brady never comes along and Bill drafts Aaron Rodgers, at that time, Bill would have been thought of as, in fact, he might not even have.
He's won a lot of games for us, and hopefully he'll win a lot more. And we've won a lot of games because of him.
Von Allen Sports.